G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be looking at Transformers the movie, the Walmart, I think, and Big W exclusive reissue Starscream. Now, for starters, I will admit that I thought I'd missed out on the hot rod, although I was informed by a member of a group I'm with that he hasn't been released yet, so I'm pretty happy about that. So, for the next 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, if I include this figure, I'm going to be doing these reissues because I have this guy, I have the Thundercracker, and I have the Hound. And I thought I'd start with this guy first because A, he's pretty awesome, and B, I had this guy as a kid. And I won't lie, straight off the bat, with holding this guy in my hand, he felt a lot smaller. And now I'm assuming that's because my child memories in smaller hands, he was bigger, but as far as I'm aware, they're all the same size. It's just my adult perspective looking at it. He does have some modifications though. We now have handholds, which we'll get to in a minute. The blue is a lot more vibrant than it was in the original G1 release. I don't remember these here. Also, I don't remember him having spring-loaded null rays. And the grey is a more vibrant grey. The older version was a darker grey. And something just flew. Damn mosquitoes. Sorry about that. But I saw another one. So yeah. So this guy is nice. There is things that annoy me, and it's not because of the figure's age. If you are coming into this thinking, oh, this guy should be pretty awesome, my Titan's Return or War for Cybertron, Starscream was amazing. You know, this guy should be incredible. This is old tech. This is G1 tech. Apart from some slight alterations, he is G1. There is a heavy element of parts forming. There is very, 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 very restricted articulation. If you put this guy up against even, we'll say a Titan, we'll say one of the War for Cybertron figures, doesn't matter if it's Earthrise or even, what was it? What was the first one? Siege, Earthrise. Heck, even the one that was based on the thrilling 30s Jetfire has more articulation than this guy does. So let's have a look at him. And he's oh so pretty. Oh so pretty. Kibble-tastic, but he's oh so pretty. Yes, there are gaps. Not a lot, a couple, but it is what it is. It does look very, very, very nice. I was so excited when I ordered this guy. You know, I was pretty happy. I will admit these are the wrong way around, but it's only so it hides the gaps under here, but we'll get to that when it is. And so there we go. Now, I will, before we go further, I will show the box, because this will be a very short review due to the figure, but here's the box. I don't usually show boxes. I started and never returned. And he looks really nice. It's really beautiful, nice bit of artwork. I'd like to think that's him with his foot stuck in the transformation of Robot City, but yeah. Of course, you have your looks on the side, and you have your bios and stuff. This is all a lot shinier than he is, but there's just one thing that's missing from this. There's no red tech spec. And while you can just make out the details, so he's about a 7 for strength, he's a 10 for intelligence, he's about a 9 for speed, and he's a 10 for firepower. But it would have been nice if they actually had the red filament like the G1 figures did have. And I will point out also, this here, he has a grayer face than the actual darker grey face than the other one. Also, that's a lie. That is a downright lie, and I will show you why in a minute. Also, the canopy is not that shiny and that vibrant. But we do have his information. Conquest is made of the ashes of one's enemies. Starscream is ruthless, cold-blooded, and manipulative. Now that Megatron is out of the way, Starscream can finally assume the coveted role of leader of the Decepticons. All of that probably an hour. Haven't seen the 86 movie? Watch it. We of course get our instructions, which we won't need. Honestly, if you need instructions for a G1 figure, we need to talk. We really need to talk. There is some complicated ones out there, but for the most part, we need to talk. So we can do our first size comparison before we get down to articulation. I'll get the focus back. Here he is. I accidentally knocked him, so he's, for some reason his foot's bent. There he is with MP10. So he's sort of hunched over. I don't know why. Actually, I hit him and by accident. So yeah. Although that is a pretty good pose for his head. So he's about going from the top of the shoulder pieces, probably about his crutch. But as a better size comparison, because why not? Here he is with Make Toys Meteor, their cartoon version of Starscream. And if you would like to see that video, top right corner, you will find a link to that one. Also, if you want to have a look at a more official one, I will also put a link after that link for MP11, although he is pretty outdated, and sadly I will not be bringing him in to do a comparison. But there is that. So for articulation, because why not, his head can't swivel, it can't look up or down, it can't move side to side. Arms can do a full 360, but you're going to have to pull his wings off to do so. In that case, his arms will go do full 360, although you do get caught on here. Arms do not go out. Yes, do not go. There is no swivel at the bicep. There is no knee elbow bend. There is no wrist swivel. There is no fingers. There is a gun hole, but that is it. You can plug that pick in. You can move the wing a bit, but that's mostly for transformation if you want it. But then you start getting into these in the way. He has no. His legs do not move up. His legs do not move back. They do not go side to side. You pull on this, you're going to snap him in half. He has no thigh or upper leg swivel. He has no knee joints. Literally, this is where his knee would be, and there's his hip. So take that for what it's worth. He does have toe bend, if you want to use it. It's more for transformation, but it is there. He has no swivel. Despite how this is angled, it should be a lot straighter. But I'm assuming that just due to transfer the packaging and whatnot, he's gotten tighter. And I won't lie, Thundercrackers is the same way. He has no waist swivel. He has no ab crunch. Ta-da! You've just seen all his articulation. He's literally standing in his articulation. So if you want, you can lift up his arm and get back in there. There. They're not the best when it comes to... Gotcha. Now, honestly, I do not remember these being spring-loaded, so that you can fire them like so, and we'll get to the missiles in a minute, but I honestly don't remember them. So if you had a G1 Starscream and you have slightly better memory than I do, if I can get that back in again. Really, oh, trust me, Hounds is a lot more wonky. There we go. But he does have one thing in this mode that the G1 version did not have, which is this. He comes, and so does Thundercracker, comes with a G1 gun version of Megatron. And you can slightly pull this apart. You can, where are you? Yeah. Unplug that. The top doesn't come off. The barrel doesn't come off. But what you can do is you can plug, I'll get his null ray out of the way. And yes, it just pegs in. Fancy that. So you put that in the top, but then you take this, and if you put it the right way around, which I didn't, which I haven't even put this on this guy yet, so take it for what it's worth. Should I get that again? There. So I might even have to just filter that out. That's really tight. Holy crap. I can just get that on there. I would think I'd have to actually either cut some of the inside of that out, but that's super tight. Oh, by the way, articulation, I suppose he has a slightly weird ab crunch. Oh, by the way, he can do a cone head. Ta-da! But yeah, so there he is holding Megatron, but that is stupidly tight. And I wouldn't trim the post here because I'm assuming that's all painted. So that's all you're going to be doing is scrape and paint off. So if you want that to fit properly, I would say file some of this out or whatnot to make it a bit wider. But I'm not going to have my Starscream holding my G1 Megatron. And honestly, I really want a G1 Megatron too. So there we go. Now I'm going to leave this off because we're going to get down to transformation. All right. If you think your modern figures have issue with parts forming, welcome to G1. Because we're going to pull off the null ray and just shoot myself. But we're not done yet. Next, we're going to pull the hands off. Hands come off? Yep, hands come off. We're going to pull the wings off to make it a little bit easier. Yep, there goes the wings. And we're going to pull off these tail fins because I'm going to have to put them all the way around. So we are left with this. Now you can take these off, but with the way this sits, you don't need it to remove it because it's going to stay there. So we're going to fold the arms down. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold the head down like so, and then we're going to fold it back. So it's actually going to cover the face. Keep it tight and slide all that through all the way and flip all this back up, and that's going to make the nose cone. So we can see Starscream's head right there. But we're not done. Then we're going to flip these two inside like so and together. So it sits nice and flat, and then we can flip this up and that now tabs into place. And for the most part, the jet's done. We can flip up these feet, which give us our landing wheels, but we're not finished with that yet. Then we can bring back in, actually, we'll do these first. So we're going to take our tail fins. So like I said, I had these the opposite way around. So this one was over this side, which does help with stability. But if I keep it on that side, I'm going to have this huge gap here. So that's going to go over that side. And we'll grab the other one. And that's going to go over that side. Take our wings. And like I said, you can leave these plugged in for the most part, and they do articulate this way if you want a bit more arm articulation with the transformation joint, but it is what it is. And at the same time, you can angle his wing however you want, but the proper look should be sleek and flat. You can then take the other wing and plug that back in. And there we go. Now we're not quite done yet. We're not done yet. If I go into my little box of additional parts, we have this. Congratulations. Even his front wheels do not come as part of the transformation. So that plugs into there. And then we have a fully transformed, for the most part, not quite finished yet, Starscream. And one of my biggest issues with this is this nose cone. It's either got too much plastic on it, and I'm got to double check Thundercrackers, but I think it's the same way. But also, for those of us who were G1 originals, that was blue. That nose cone was blue, not grey. So there we go. Now for articulation, we can lift up the canopy. And we have this spot, but it doesn't really fit anything. And don't forget, these guys, I want to say these ones, or is it just Diaclone? I'm pretty sure these ones were also mech suits, but I may be misremembering that. So, what do you do with these hands? Here's my G1 accessory box. There you go, done. What do we do with the null rays? There we go, done. Now, to try not to lose them. Now, we can get him his missiles, which I put on the side. And this is where I call bull. This is his missile. It is massive. It is huge. It is long. And if I put that into the missile launcher, there is no gap at the back there. So it locks to there. So if I put his null rays onto the figure, like you're supposed to, plug them in underneath, and we put the last one in, and hopefully that locks into place, right? We have this. That is his missile version. Now, this is why I said I call bull, because you look at how much room you've got in there. There is the box art. So I'm thinking between this figure being released and this figure being put in production, they extended the plastic piece. And I think that's the same thing for his null rays. And these do shoot, they are, but I think they were supposed to be this long. And I'm pretty sure, if I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how long the original G1 versions was. And you might be saying, well, why is it so long? Safety standards. That's why this is so long. And it's the same reason, if I grab the null rays, they're so long. Not only because this is all null ray, but because it's about the same length, give or take a little bit, and it's for choking hazards. Now, I understand that. I don't have kids of my own, and I have had my niece and nephew say hello on occasions when they're over here, when I'm having to record these. But that's ridiculous. That really is ridiculous. I never died. Now, in saying that, I'm sure there was probably some kids that did, but that is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. So while I won't do it, and the funny thing, actually, you know what? I'll show you this too, because I can't get it off. Here's Hound's missiles. So this goes onto Hound's. Look how much difference that is. So this is because of choking hazards. Why didn't Hound's missiles get longer? But I'll bring that up again when we do him, because I've got him. But I would suggest to anyone who is capable of modifying their figures, especially things like this, I would cut it off about here, cut it off about here, and then glue them back together. Now, I'm not going to do it because A, I don't plan on displaying these guys with their missile gimmick, but at the same time, I'm not 100% capable of doing that without screwing it up. I do minor modifications, nail polish, the old eraser. I try glue and screw that up, but I am not comfortable with actually cutting this thing up and remodeling it to fit properly. And you know what the simplest solution for this would have been is, honestly, put a hole in the back of the missile launcher. Now, I'm sure it would have hindered the launcher gimmick, but I would have been happier if the launcher gimmick didn't work and there was a hole in the back, so that way all that is pushed out the back. I would have been perfectly happy for that to be sticking out here than having all that sticking out here. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But if you want a cleaner, more somewhat better look, toss those into a box, get your old null rays back, and just plug them in. By the way, these can go however you want. I just tend to have them facing forward. So it is up to you how you want to do it. And that looks 100% better now. Admittedly, that's a bit loose, but I'm not too worried. And these guys are staying in robot mode, going on my G1 reissue shelf. Now, the only thing I can't figure out with these is there's this here, which I'm assuming either maybe I was going to say I'm going to end up shooting that. Can it? No. I have a feeling there is a spot here. It might even be the pieces here. Does that fit? If it does, I don't want to force it. But I don't think it's, like I said, I haven't even read the instructions. So just taking a quick little spizz through them. null rays going there, which is funny because it's showing up as smaller. And Megatron held the way he looks. But yeah, there's literally nothing in the instructions about how to connect Megatron. So we get that bit here. That shows us we have a swivel. But even then, if you look at these, the null rays are tiny. So there's a null ray there, and there's the null ray there. So look at all that compared to that. So it's just a smidgen compared to most of the jet. So from the way this is looking, I'd say the null ray would have stopped just before the wingtip. But in saying that, looking at these instructions, it's also missing bits because this is snug against here. But at the same time, this, well, I suppose that's there, isn't it? But even then, this ends here and this one ends where it is. So yeah, take the instructions for a grain of salt. It works 100% of the way. It's just that the null rays and the missiles are a lot longer than they are shown either on the box or, see, that one's nice and tight. That one's knit. No, it's going to be a little bit wobbly, but that's all right. It holds perfect fine in the other mode. So there we go. As for size comparison, good old Windblade. Here they are together. So he's taller than her due to the tail fin, but overall her blade makes her taller. As for, and I'm going to end up firing one of these launchers again. He is, oops, move the camera up a little bit. He is longer than she is, and I'd say arguably she's wider. So there we go. So let's get down to transformation again and get this guy back into robot mode so he can go back on the shelf with Thundercracker and Hound, along with my other reissues, my Optimus Prime and all that. If you'd like to see a review of all them, you can find a link here in the top right corner for my original reissue figures video. So once again, we're going to take off the null rays and try not to launch them. We're going to take the wheel and drop it in the parts box. We're going to take, actually, I'll tell you what, we'll do this without taking these off, and we'll see how we go. We're going to fold these down, and like I said, you can do this the other way if you want, but we're going to have to take these off because they're not going to work regardless. Then what we're going to do is fold down the nose cone. We can fold down his feet, and what you're going to do is you're going to push from this side, and that will just push both of them out. And if they don't unfurl, just sort of give them a little pull. One will usually give way before the other, and they can just come round. And they're nice and tight, which is good. And then what we can do is fold the nose cone here, which tabs in really well. Fold that down as far as it'll go, and then when you go through, whoops, fold that back first, then fold that up, and this is all going to furl through as long as everything's, no, I did do it wrong. Through, there we go. Sometimes it's just a matter of angling it just right. That comes through here. Fold that back to reveal the face and fold it forward. And there we go. We can then slide the wings up. We can then take these pieces, and once again, we're going to put them on the opposite side. And that's going to tab into there. And that's going to tab into there. Which that one's still a little loose, but it's fine. I don't feel the desire to have to nail polish it. And then we reach into the box and we get the hands, and we find which way the hands sit the right way, and that just slides on. There's this sort of tab point here, which is what these sort of side bits of plastic go onto. You can put them this way, but you just have your hands upside down, but it's up to you if you want to show that circle off. like so, and then we can take our null rays and they just get into the side as I shoot myself. As I said, that doesn't lock in. It literally sits there. If this starts getting wobbly, it's because of the pin is getting loose. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do. And one of my biggest problems growing up was that the pin fell out, I lost it, and now then his head wouldn't stay. It would work in vehicle mode, it just would not work in robot mode. So get that back in there. Like honestly, if that spring, come on, wasn't required, I'd so pull that apart. I have a feeling, I don't think there's actually any screws holding that. I think that's all glued together. So I'd rather not modify it and try to alter it. But there is G1 reissued Starscream, and he's beautiful. He is beautiful. Despite the slight variation in the colors, the blues used to be darker, the grays used to be dark, and the nose cone used to have a blue rubber tip on it. It's so beautiful, regardless of how long the null rays are, regardless of how long those missiles is. I was excited. The fact that I was able to get these, the fact that I can now wait for Hot Rod to come out, seem more excited. I want, if possible, all G1 fit reissues possible. I want a whole shelf of them. I've got Optimus Prime without his trailer, sadly, but I've got Optimus Prime regardless. Now I have Starscream, Thundercracker, and Hound. So I'll be looking at those two in the next time. I'll probably do Hound next. But, so there we go. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the reissue Starscream. Are you amazed at how much of a brick and primitive this figure is? Or are you amazed at the fact that about 30 odd years ago, this was pretty much perfect? But thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.